Have you ever walked into a room and felt every head turn without saying a word? Or maybe someone once told you, there's just something about you, and you didn't quite understand what they meant. What if the energy you carry, your aura, is far more powerful than you realize? What if your very presence stirs emotions, triggers memories, or unsettles people without you doing a thing? In this video, we're diving deep into the hidden signs that reveal just how powerful your aura is. But this isn't just some mystical theory. This is about your lived experience. Why do animals trust you instantly? Why do children seem drawn to you or become calm in your presence? Why do some people feel empowered when you're around, while others pull away or become defensive? If you've ever felt out of place, misunderstood, or deeply connected to others, without knowing why, this video is going to give you answers. You'll learn why your energy has an impact, how others subconsciously react to it, and what it means when people can't forget you even after just one meeting. Stay with us until the end, because by the final moment, you'll see yourself and your presence in a whole new light. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. The first unmistakable sign that your aura holds extraordinary power is this: your mere presence lingers deeply, mysteriously, unexplainably. You don't just walk into a room, you arrive. Even in silence, even without saying much, you leave an imprint that stays with people long after you've gone. It's not about beauty, charisma, or loudness. It's something far more subtle, something soul deep. Some people pass through our lives like shadows, here 1 second, gone the next, barely noticed. But then, there are those like you, whose presence feels like a gentle but powerful echo in the heart. People can't always put it into words, but they'll say things like, there's just something about them. And they're right. That something is your essence, your energy, your truth, your inner alignment. It's the quiet power of someone who knows who they are and refuses to shrink. From my own experience, I've learned that energy never lies. It enters before you do, and it leaves behind a ripple, a resonance. Sometimes it's warm and comforting, like a familiar scent from childhood. Other times, it's unsettling, disruptive, even because it stirs things people have worked hard to bury. The truth is, when your soul and your outward life walk in sync, you don't need to prove your worth. Your presence becomes the evidence. Carl Jung once said, "The psyche transcends the limits of the body," and I believe that to my core. We are not just flesh and intellect. We are vibration, memory, and soul fire. We carry every scar, every triumph, every act of courage in our energy field. And that's why some people feel at home without ever speaking a word, because they are whole and their wholeness radiates. And here's what I've noticed. The more authentic someone becomes, the more distilled and potent their energy becomes. It's like aged wine, richer, deeper, unforgettable. You don't need to announce it. You don't have to be loud or flashy. You simply are. And that being changes the atmosphere. It's a kind of spiritual gravity, magnetic but humble. People remember you not for what you said, but for how they felt when you were near. It's like a scent no one can name, but everyone recognizes. That energetic signature, the coherence between your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, is rare. And rare things are always either loved or feared. Let me say this clearly. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to carry something sacred. That's why you may feel out of place at times, like your energy doesn't quite fit in the spaces you walk into. You may have even tried to tone yourself down, to shrink, so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But please don't. Your light is not the problem. The world has simply forgotten how to see. When your energy enters a room first, people will react. Some will project their insecurities, some will admire you, and others won't even know why they're feeling stirred, but they'll feel it. And often, they'll misread it. But don't take that personally. Not everyone is ready to meet someone who is fully themselves. This leads us to the second sign. Your aura doesn't just exist, it activates. It expands others or exposes them. It brings comfort or confrontation. Your energy is not neutral, it's catalytic. You don't have to speak a word, and yet the room shifts. Why? Because you're not just standing there, you're reflecting. You reflect what's been hidden, locked away, suppressed. You access emotional and psychic layers in others simply by being who you are. You become a silent invitation for truth, and truth, as we know, is never neutral. It awakens, it agitates, it liberates, and sometimes it terrifies me. I've seen it happen. People flinch when truth walks in, not because truth is harsh, but because it's unfiltered. Jung spoke of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we were forced to reject, repress, or deny to be accepted by the world. And when someone like you, with your clear, bright, unapologetic energy enters a space, that shadow stirs. It gets restless. It reacts. Because suddenly, the illusion isn't safe anymore. Your presence becomes a spotlight, not because you seek attention, but because you bring clarity. And clarity, for someone still hiding behind masks, can feel like exposure. This can be lonely at times. You may notice people dislike you without cause, or they envy you without reason. They might avoid you, gossip about you, or feel irritated by your very being. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you represent what they haven't yet accepted within themselves. You remind them of unlived dreams, unclaimed power, and unresolved pain. You stir the waters, and in doing so, you become unforgettable. You are a mirror, and mirrors make people uncomfortable, especially when they're not ready to see. But please don't forget the other side of that coin. You are also medicine. For those who are open, for those who have done their inner work, or are yearning to begin, you are a beacon. Around you, they feel taller, braver, more alive. They feel the possibility again. You become the key that unlocks something sacred inside them. Your energy whispers, you can be more. You already are more. And in your presence, they remember that. That's not ego, it's spiritual resonance. You carry a frequency that awakens. And that, my friend, is your gift. You don't have to fix anyone. You don't have to convince or convert. You just have to be. Your job is not to be liked, it's to be true. Some people will run from you. Others will draw closer, like moths to a flame. But all will be affected. That is how powerful you are. You are not here to go unnoticed. You were not made to dim. Your energy was crafted by every trial you've endured, every truth you've chosen to live by, and every tear you've alchemized into wisdom. You're not just a person. You are a walking field of light and frequency, and when you walk into a space, the space changes. Always. So keep showing up, even when they don't understand you. Keep shining, even when they flinch. You are not here to make others comfortable. You are here to remind them of what they've forgotten. And whether they embrace you or resist you, they will never forget you, because your presence isn't just seen or heard, it's felt. And feeling never lies. This brings us to the second undeniable sign. Your aura carries such immense power that people either feel deeply expanded or subtly, or sometimes blatantly threatened in your presence. You don't just enter a room, you activate it. Your energy doesn't sit quietly in a corner. It stirs things. It speaks without words. It pulls at the invisible threads inside others, the ones they've tried to bury, forget, or deny. You don't need to ask personal questions. You don't need to pry. Just by being who you are, authentic, grounded, and whole, you begin to reveal what's been hidden in those around you. You may have noticed this without fully understanding it. People behave differently around you. They become anxious, overly talkative, defensive, or even strangely drawn to you. It's not your imagination. Your energy touches the soul before the mind has time to rationalize. Jung said it best, each of us carries a shadow. And you, with your clean, coherent energy, awaken that shadow in others not to shame them, but because light naturally reveals what was in the dark. And let's be honest, truth can be terrifying, especially to someone who's built their life around illusions or avoidance. I've learned, painfully at times, that being a mirror is not always a comfortable role. When you show up with honesty in your energy, when you embody your lived experiences, your integrated pain, your hard-won wisdom, it causes a shift. For some, it's a blessing. For others, it's too much. You represent a level of clarity they haven't reached yet, and that alone can feel threatening. Not because you're intimidating, but because you symbolize something their soul craves, but their ego resists. You become a mirror, reflecting not just what is, but what could be. And that reflection is deeply personal. People project onto you their unresolved wounds, their unlived desires, their guilt, their jealousy, their grief, and their longing. You may notice people taking offense to your peace, misunderstanding your silence, and resenting your confidence. They may pull away without warning, grow distant, or act out of character. Don't take it personally. This is the sacred tension of spiritual presence. Your energy is not neutral. It amplifies, it provokes, it illuminates. For those walking in internal conflict, your presence becomes both a confrontation and a challenge. You remind them of the version of themselves they haven't dared to embrace. That can spark discomfort, irritation, and even sudden dislike for no logical reason. And yet, none of that is about you. It's what you stir within them. You didn't create the storm, you simply walked into a room where the air was already heavy with the weather. But here's the beauty. There's always another side to this coin. Your presence is not just a trigger, it's a key. For those who are ready, who are hungry for truth, who are seeking something real in a world full of noise, you are a living invitation. Your energy awakens something sacred. It brings a sense of expansion, clarity, and courage. People feel more themselves around you. They find language for their longings. They feel seen, even if you say nothing. You become a portal, not just to healing, but to remembering. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And let me be very clear here, you are not doing anything special to create this. You're just being you. You're simply aligned. That's what makes it so powerful. Your inner world matches your outer expression. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions are in harmony. That coherence creates resonance. Resonance either soothes or disturbs, depending on what's alive inside the other person. Some people will feel like they can breathe deeper in your presence. Others will feel like they've just been exposed. You'll notice it in their eyes, in their body language. One person will lean in, open up, and tell you their life story. Another will pull away, grow cold, or find fault. But you remain steady, because your energy isn't changing. What shifts is their readiness to meet it. You are often a catalyst for transformation, whether you realize it or not. Your very existence reminds people that there is more to see, more to heal, more to become, and not everyone is ready for that more. Some people will retreat because they're not ready to leave their familiar patterns. Others will be magnetized, pulled toward you like they've found something they didn't know they were missing. They may not even understand why they feel so drawn to you, but they do. And that, dear soul, is how your aura works. It stretches out like a field of influence, a wave of quiet power, touching everything it encounters. Some will feel liberated by it, others will feel exposed. And that's not your burden to carry. It's simply your nature to reveal. Some people walk into a room and make the world feel heavier. You walk in, and somehow the space becomes wider, more honest, more alive. You represent what the world still struggles to accept: truth without pretense, presence without performance, and love without conditions. And yes, that makes you unforgettable. But it also means you will often walk a lonely path. Not because you're alone, but because few can walk at the same depth and frequency as you do. But please, never doubt this. Your presence is doing more good than you may ever know. Some are healed by it. Some are scared of it. But all are changed by it. Would you like me to continue with the third sign, keeping this same tone and style? The third sign that your aura is incredibly powerful is that animals, children, and even the natural world itself recognize and respond to you in ways that are deeply instinctual and quietly profound. This isn't something you can fake. It's not about what you say, what you wear, or how you try to appear, because in the world of instinct, energy is the only language that matters. Animals don't care about your title, your reputation, or how many followers you have. They're not impressed by your posture or your polished smile. They tune in to something far deeper, your vibration. They feel your emotional state, your intentions, and the purity of your presence. It's raw, honest communication, energetic, not verbal. A dog may walk right up to you with eyes full of trust, or a bird may linger longer than usual near your stillness. And when that happens, you don't need words, you know. You're seen, you're felt, you're trusted. I've experienced it myself, the quiet moment when a usually timid cat curls up next to me without hesitation, or when a dog I've never met comes running to sit by my feet like we've known each other forever. That's the aura speaking. That's the universe saying, this one is safe. This one is grounded. This one is real. And on the flip side, I've also seen animals shy away from people who wear masks, not visible ones, but the emotional kind. You can smile all you want, but if there's tension inside, if your energy is chaotic, animals will feel it, and they'll walk away. Not out of judgment, but out of instinct. The same goes for children. They are some of the most accurate energy readers on this planet. Before they learn how to speak, they already know who's safe and who isn't. A child won't care about your credentials or how kind you say you are. They'll sense how kind you are. And when your aura is warm, centered, and clean, children know. They'll climb into your lap without fear, look into your eyes without flinching, and speak to you like you've always been a part of their world. There is a sort of unfiltered magic in the way children respond to truth. They don't care about social roles. They haven't been conditioned yet. They feel what's real. If your presence is full of love, calm, and truth, you'll soothe them just by being there. You won't need toys or songs or distractions. You'll be the comfort. That's the beauty of an aligned aura. It doesn't demand attention. It simply draws it from those who still live close to their instincts. And nature. Nature is its language. The trees, the wind, the earth they respond to. You may notice how the wind seems to pick up when you're deep in thought, or how a particular patch of sunlight seems to follow you. Maybe flowers bloom a little longer in your presence, or birds come unusually close. Some may call it coincidence, but I call it alignment. Nature has a way of recognizing souls that carry stillness, presence, and peace. You're not separate from the earth, you're part of it. And when your energy is in harmony with the world around you, even the elements respond with grace. So, if animals, children, and nature seem to gravitate toward you, don't brush it off as nothing. That's not accidental. That's a sacred acknowledgement from the instinctive world that your energy is clean, your presence is safe, and your truth is alive. It's not something you have to try to be. It's who you are when you stop pretending, stop performing, and start living from your soul. And then comes the fourth sign, the one that often catches you off guard. You intimidate others without trying, without intending to, and without even realizing it. This one can be tough to accept, especially if you have a soft heart and a kind spirit. It hurts when people misunderstand you. It's confusing when they back away, become defensive, or react with sudden coldness, all when you're simply standing there, calm and open-hearted. But here's the truth. What intimidates them is not what you do, it's what you are. You're not trying to dominate. You're not trying to shine brighter than anyone else. You're just being, and for some, that is too much. You walk into a room fully yourself, no pretense, no masks, no hidden agenda, and suddenly you feel the shift. People adjust their posture. Their smiles tighten. Their tone sharpens. It's like an invisible alarm goes off. And you stand there wondering, did I do something wrong? No, love, you didn't. In the language of Carl Jung, every person wears a persona, a social mask, carefully constructed to fit into the world. And when someone like you walks in, someone who doesn't need a mask, that mask begins to crack, not because you said anything confrontational, but because your authenticity puts pressure on their illusion. Your presence whispers. You don't have to pretend anymore. But if they've built their identity on pretending, that whisper feels like a roar. People project. Oh, do they project? They'll make up stories about you. They'll misread your silence as judgment, your strength as arrogance, your clarity as harshness. They'll tell themselves you think you're better than them, even when you're just trying to be still. But all of that is not about you. It's about what you've awakened in them, the discomfort of being seen when they're not ready to be seen. You carry a rare kind of power, inner coherence. That alignment between your soul, your voice, your actions, it's uncommon. It challenges what's out of balance in others. You don't have to say a word to shake someone who is living out of alignment. You're like a silent reminder that truth exists and that it's possible to live without performing for the world. And for those still trapped in performance, your presence feels like pressure. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you represent something they haven't allowed themselves to be. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And here's the most painful part sometimes. They won't even know why they feel uncomfortable around you. They'll just start avoiding you, or talking about you, or reacting to you with a strange mix of fascination and resistance. And you're left wondering what happened. But in truth, you didn't do anything except exist. So no, don't dim your light. Don't make yourself smaller. Don't trade your authenticity for their comfort. That would be a form of self-betrayal, a quiet heartbreak you carry alone. The world needs more people like you, people who are real, people who challenge the masks, people who live from a deeper place. You will unsettle many, but you will also inspire others to rise. You don't intimidate because you are loud or aggressive. You intimidate because you are present. You reveal the absence in others. And people who've only known absence, the absence of truth, of connection, of self, will often confuse presence with the threat. But don't let that stop you. Your energy is doing exactly what it was designed to do, wake people up. And those who are ready will feel seen, safe, and stirred in your presence. They'll come closer. They'll soften. They'll open. So stand tall. Stay rooted. Let your aura speak. Some will run, but the right ones, they will rise. The 5th sign that your aura is incredibly powerful is this. You shift the energy of a space simply by being in it. You may not even notice it most of the time. You're not trying to be the center of attention. You don't walk in with drama or demand. But still, something changes the moment you arrive. Conversations pause. People unconsciously sit up a little straighter. Some glance at you, and others suddenly fall quiet, unsure why the atmosphere feels different. Lighter, denser, sharper, softer. But not the same as it was before you entered. That isn't about control. It's not about ego. It's about energetic presence, a magnetic force that doesn't shout, but settles deeply into the bones of a room. There's no need for fanfare. Your field does the talking. Healer and scientist Barbara Brennan, the author of Hands of Light, said that our energy field extends well beyond our physical body. And that field is constantly in communication with the world around us. Even when you're not speaking, your aura is speaking. Even when you're still, your vibration is organizing, influencing, shifting. According to Brennan, our energy field carries the subtle imprints of our truth, our lived experiences, our emotional states, and our intentions. So when your aura is clear, aligned, and rooted in authenticity, it doesn't just enter a space, it reorganizes it. Carl Jung described something similar. He spoke of symbolic presence, the kind of energy a person carries that activates the unconscious of those around them. That's what your presence does. It stirs what's dormant in others. You carry archetypes, energetic codes that go beyond language and awaken something real in people, even if they can't explain it. And it's not because you're performing, it's because you're coherent. You are what you say you are. You feel what you claim to feel. You live what you believe. That internal consistency has a frequency, and frequency changes everything it touches. You don't need a microphone to be heard. You don't need a spotlight to be seen. Your aura is the message. Wherever you go, the emotional temperature of the room recalibrates, not because you're demanding anything, but because truth has entered the space. Some will feel soothed, others will feel shaken, but none will remain unaffected. That is the quiet, reverent strength of someone whose energy is fully awake. The sixth sign that your aura is too powerful to ignore is this: you read people and places with stunning accuracy, often without trying. You don't ask questions, you feel answers. You don't need proof, you carry knowing. This isn't about judgment or assumption. It's about intuition, a deep, subtle perception that lives in your bones, your skin, and your nervous system. You walk into a room and immediately pick up on what others miss. You can feel the tension beneath the laughter, the discomfort behind the polite smile, the heaviness that no one else acknowledges. And while others may be fooled by appearances, your energy field reads truth. It's not a mystical talent reserved for a few. It's a form of awakened intelligence. It's what happens when your aura is clean and expanded, when your emotional body is open, but discerning. It's like your entire being becomes an antenna, tuned in to the invisible. The space speaks, and you listen not with your ears, but with your whole self. As Jung put it, the unconscious communicates through symbols, emotions, and sensations. Intuition is how your soul speaks, and your aura is its translator. It doesn't yell or explain, it nudges. It guides. It reveals. That's why you can walk into a room and know something is off, even when everyone else says everything's fine. You can feel when someone is lying, even if their words are sweet. You can sense the storm beneath still waters. And often you doubt yourself not because you're wrong, but because the world trains us to dismiss what can't be measured. But, you know, your body knows, your field knows, and that knowing protects you, but yes, it can also be overwhelming because you see too much, feel too much. You sense the emotions that others haven't even admitted to themselves. And sometimes you wish you didn't. You wish you could just not know. But you do. That's the double-edged sword of deep sensitivity. And yet, that's what makes you powerful. You move through the world with a level of awareness that's sacred. You are a human compass, a reader of vibrations, a knower of truths before they surface. That's not a flaw. That's a gift. And in today's world so loud, so performative, so full of illusions, real, intuitive clarity is revolutionary. The seventh sign that your aura is profoundly powerful is surprisingly simple, but so deeply revealing. You can't stand small talk. Not because you're snobby or antisocial, but because you feel it in your body when a conversation is empty. You've tried. You've smiled, nodded, said the polite things about the weather, or asked about someone's weekend. You've gone through the motions, but somewhere inside you, a light dims. Your chest tightens, your mind begins to drift, and something in your soul whispers, "There's nothing real here." Your energy field rejects what is inauthentic. It can't fake a connection. It's allergic to pretense. You crave conversations that matter, interactions that carry weight, presence, and truth. You're not asking for deep philosophical discussions all the time. Sometimes silence is enough. But what you cannot tolerate is the noise that covers up the silence, the words that mean nothing, and the masks people wear to avoid themselves and each other. Your aura demands presence, and not everyone is ready for that. Many people are afraid of depth because it requires vulnerability. It requires honesty. And when your very presence calls others into realness, many will instinctively resist. That's why small talk feels exhausting to you, because it's not just boring, it's disconnected. It's a loop designed to avoid the truth. And you, even without meaning to, point toward the truth just by being. As Jung said, we become whole by integrating the unconscious. And small talk is the opposite. It's a way of skimming over the surface of life, never diving in. You don't just want more from people, you need more. And when you start expecting that kind of presence, you'll find your circle gets smaller. The crowd thins out. People fade. But the ones who stay, they're real. They're rare. They're the ones who can meet you in the depths. Yes, sometimes this kind of spiritual sensitivity brings loneliness, but over time, that loneliness transforms into clarity. It becomes a filter. It becomes freedom. You stop needing the room to be full. You start needing the room to be true. You weren't made to fit into the noise. You were made to resonate with truth, and your soul knows the difference. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The 8th sign that your aura is profoundly powerful is this. Other people's shadows get projected onto you constantly, deeply, and often without their awareness. The stronger and more whole your energy becomes, the more it begins to stir what others have carefully buried. You don't even have to speak. You don't have to call anything out. Your mere presence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to see what that reflection reveals. Suddenly, you may notice strange reactions from others, unexpected admiration that feels excessive, sharp criticism that seems to come out of nowhere, subtle avoidance, or intense over-attachment. You might think, did I say something wrong? But no, you didn't. This isn't about you. It's about the light you carry and the shadows it unintentionally exposes. In Jungian psychology, the shadow represents all the parts of ourselves we've had to reject, suppress, or deny to survive in the world. And when you show up as someone whole, someone who's integrated your light and your darkness, you awaken that shadow in others, not to shame them, but simply because light reveals what's hidden. It's never personal, but it will often feel that way. You may be idealized, seen as more than human, or demonized, seen as a threat. You may find that some people are drawn to you obsessively, while others distance themselves abruptly without explanation. You didn't do anything. You just are. And in a world full of masks, someone who lives authentically is both magnetic and disruptive. That's why it becomes so important, so necessary to learn what is truly yours and what is being energetically projected onto you. Not so you can defend yourself, but so you don't carry someone else's unresolved pain as if it were your own. Your ability to differentiate between your energy and theirs becomes a sacred act of spiritual hygiene. Being a target of projection is not a punishment. It's confirmation. It means you carry light. And light, by its very nature, casts shadows. But remember this. Only those who are luminous have the power to disturb what's hidden. And that disturbance, while uncomfortable, is often the very thing that begins someone's awakening. The 9th sign that your aura is incredibly powerful is that your silences speak louder than your words ever could. You've probably felt it before, the need to hold back, not because you're shy or reserved, but because you've learned the strength of not speaking. You've discovered that true presence doesn't need noise. It doesn't demand attention. It holds attention. And when your aura is clean and strong, your silence becomes a living force. Silence is not emptiness. It's energetic containment. It's choosing not to leak your power through over-explaining, people-pleasing, or unnecessary chatter. It's restraint with sacred intention. And in that held space, something magical happens. People begin to feel you without needing to hear you. You walk into a room, and without uttering a word, the atmosphere shifts. It's not performance, it's presence. You don't have to announce yourself. You don't need to assert anything. Your energy already did. And that kind of stillness, it's unforgettable. Strong auras don't shout. They don't beg to be seen. They exist with such undeniable integrity that the room can't help but respond. Loud people may grab attention for a moment, but those with depth are the ones remembered. They linger in people's minds and hearts, long after they've left the room. Silence, when intentional, radiates self-confidence. It shows that you're comfortable in your being, that you're not afraid of space, and that your worth isn't tied to how much you speak, but to how true you are when you speak and when you don't. Your silence becomes an extension of your vibration, and vibration never lies. At the end of the day, one of the truest signs of a powerful aura is this quiet, steady ability to influence without effort, to speak volumes, without a single word. The 10th sign your aura is powerful is this beautiful, almost mystical phenomenon. You attract spontaneous confessions. You've lived it. You sit down for what's supposed to be a casual conversation, and suddenly, someone you barely know is crying, confessing deep childhood wounds, revealing heartbreaks. They've never spoken aloud, and you're just sitting there, maybe even wondering, why me? Why are they telling me all this? It's because you're not just a person, you're a safe, energetic field. You don't ask people to take off their masks, but your presence gently invites it. You don't demand vulnerability, but your aura allows it. And that, in today's emotionally guarded world, is a rare and powerful gift. People open up around you, not because of what you say, but because of how you hold space. You don't rush. You don't try to fix it. You listen with your full body. You offer presence instead of pity. And something in the unconscious recognizes that safety and pours out. Jung said the unconscious is always looking for a way to express itself, but it can only do so when it finds a proper vessel. That's you. You're the kind of person who has done enough inner work to hold space for others without breaking, judging, or trying to reshape their truth. And so people talk, and they cry. And sometimes they apologize afterward, saying, "I don't know why I told you all that." But you know why. You feel it in your bones. You created space, and space is medicine. It's not that you go seeking secrets. It's that your soul makes others feel seen, and in that moment, what's been buried begins to rise. You didn't force it. You simply allowed it. And in that allowance, healing begins. The 11th sign your aura is truly powerful is this: your freedom irritates those who are still hiding. Let's be honest, being free, being whole, in a world addicted to conformity and masks, is revolutionary. And revolutions always stir resistance. You don't need to speak loudly. You don't need to argue or provoke. Just living in your truth is enough to make people uncomfortable. You walk into a space, unapologetically yourself, and the air shifts. You can feel it, the stares, the whispers, the subtle tension. You haven't done anything wrong, but your freedom exposes the chains others still wear. And that exposure, even if silent, is threatening. You don't accuse anyone. You don't shame them. You simply exist. But your existence poses a question. And you still pretending? That question echoes in the hearts of those still living behind facades, and it hurts. It's not your fault, but it is your power. Freedom is noisy, not in volume, but in impact. It disturbs the status quo. It awakens courage in some and provokes fear in others. Your lightness shows others how heavy their unspoken fears have become. Your courage quietly points to where they've stayed small. And that is intolerable for those who aren't yet ready to change. You'll notice it. People making assumptions, projecting bitterness, twisting your actions, seeing arrogance where there is only sovereignty. And yes, sometimes it will sting. But remember, their discomfort is a reflection of their limitations, not your light. You don't have to shrink to soothe them. You don't have to pretend to be less than you are to make them feel better about where they've stayed stuck. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to be whole. And wholeness real. Embodied wholeness is rare enough to be seen as a threat. So if your freedom seems to irritate, unsettle, or shake people who haven't yet allowed themselves to evolve, take it as a sign you're walking in truth. And those who are ready for that truth, they will rise to meet you. And those who aren't, they'll resist, reject, or run. But one thing's for sure, your presence won't be forgotten. Even when you leave, the air still carries the memory of your energy. That's the power of someone who is truly free. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The 12th, and perhaps one of the most profound signs that your aura is undeniably powerful, is this. Even when you're no longer physically present, a part of you remains. And no, this isn't about popularity, charm, or being the life of the party. It goes much deeper into sacred, almost mystical territory. This is about presence, not performance. It's about the kind of energy that doesn't just enter a room. It claims it, not through arrogance, but through authenticity. Not by speaking the loudest, but by vibrating the deepest. When someone with a strong, aligned aura walks away, they don't leave. Their essence lingers. Their truth leaves footprints in the space they once stood. You can feel them, even in their absence, in the silence between conversations, in the stillness after the chaos, in the way the energy of a place just feels different. To me, that's incredibly beautiful and incredibly rare, because we live in a world so saturated with noise, attention-seeking, and superficial connections. But when someone shows up with a grounded, soul-deep presence, it's unforgettable. Their absence doesn't just feel like someone left the room. It feels like something sacred shifted. It's like the atmosphere is altered, as though the air still remembers them. Have you ever sat in a room after someone like that left, and felt like something in you was stirred, touched in a place even words can't reach? That's what I mean. It's not about applause. It's not about how many people noticed you. It's about energetic memory, that spiritual echo that keeps resonating long after your body has gone elsewhere. Some people are forgotten even while they're speaking, trying so hard to impress or be liked. But when your aura is real, when it's been shaped by healing, self-awareness, love, and truth, you don't have to try. You just are, and that being leaves a mark. Sometimes the impact is a quiet inspiration. People walk away wanting to be more honest, more kind, more alive. Other times, your energy stirs up someone's inner wounds, because truth always exposes what's been buried. And sometimes, what remains is a kind of soulful emptiness, a stillness that whispers, something beautiful was here, something that mattered. This is the kind of presence you can't fake. You can't buy it, and you can't copy it from someone else. It's born from the fire of inner work, from choosing authenticity when it's easier to wear a mask, from listening to your soul more than to the crowd. And in my heart, I believe this is what we're here to become, not just people who exist, but people who leave something meaningful behind, not through fame or influence, but through truth, through being fully alive and fully ourselves. A powerful aura doesn't need to shout. It radiates. It doesn't beg to be remembered. It simply lives so fully in the moment that forgetting it becomes impossible. You didn't have to dominate the room. You just had to be fully in it, breathing, listening, loving, being real. And in a world drowning in distractions, that kind of presence isn't just rare, it's divine. And now we arrive at the final sign, the most sacred, the most soul-stirring truth of all. Your aura has been earned, not bought, not borrowed, not handed to you in a moment of ease or enlightenment. No, this kind of aura is not the product of surface-level glow or trendy spirituality. It's not about crystals on your shelf or the calm tone you speak in. It's deeper than aesthetics, far more ancient than appearance. This kind of light, it was forged in fire. When people say you radiate peace, when they are drawn to your stillness, your grounded energy, your glow, it's easy for them to believe it's always been that way. But if only they knew, if only they could see the journey behind the light. Because of that glow, that sacred presence, it was built in the silence in those hidden moments. No one clapped for, when you were quietly rebuilding yourself from pieces that didn't seem to fit anymore. It was built scar by scar, not despite the pain, but through it. What they feel in your presence is not luck. It's not gifted. It's a quiet power born from the nights you collapsed on the bathroom floor with no one around, when you begged the universe for peace, for clarity, for strength, and still chose to rise. It's the softness you cultivated when the world gave you every reason to grow bitter. It's the strength of forgiving those who never said, "I'm sorry." It's the courage to meet your own eyes in the mirror, see the mess, the flaws, the guilt, and still whisper, "I love you." We're not giving up. You've let go of versions of yourself that were never truly you. You've died 1,000 little symbolic deaths, not because you wanted to, but because your truth demanded it. And you honored that truth, even when it was painful. Especially when it was painful. You didn't become light by avoiding the dark. You became light because you faced it again and again. And you kept walking with trembling knees, with a heart that bled. But you walked, and that's why your aura isn't something you wear, it's something you embody. It lives in your bones. It pulses through your voice. It hums in your silence. It's a vibration, a frequency of someone who's no longer hiding from themselves. To me, that's the most powerful kind of energy a human being can have. Not the loudest, not the most admired, but the most real. What people feel when they sit near you and say, "I don't know why, but I feel so safe with you," or "you make me want to be better," that's not a vibe. That's your lived truth, speaking without words. That's the result of transmuted pain, of love chosen again and again, even when it wasn't returned. Even when it broke, you open. Your light doesn't flicker just because someone doesn't understand you. It doesn't shrink when you're doubted. It doesn't burn hotter to get validation. It just is. And that kind of being, that deep, unshakable embodiment of your truth is rare in this world. It's not built on ego. It's not a need to be seen. It's awakeness, the kind that says, "I know who I am. I know what I've walked through. And I'm not here to perform. I'm here to live." And that's what people feel. That's what pulls them in without knowing why. They sense a soul that has come home to itself. In my opinion, this is the light the world needs more of right now. Not more noise, not more performance, but more realness. People who shine because they've faced the shadows within and refused to let them win. People who stand tall, not because they've never fallen, but because they've fallen, shattered, and still chose to rise with grace. So if this is you, if you've walked through that fire, if you've felt like giving up 1,000 times and still kept your heart open, I honor you, because your light is not fragile. It's not temporary. It's earned. It's sacred. And it's what makes this world a little more beautiful. So, now, I want to ask you, what have you learned about yourself through this video? Have you realized why people react to your presence in ways you couldn't explain before? Have you recognized the quiet power that's always been within you, misunderstood by some, but deeply felt by many? Take a moment, breathe it in, and comment below one thing you've learned about yourself today, and more importantly, one truth you're going to carry forward and practice in your life from now on. Because it's not just about knowing these signs, it's about living them with grace, with courage, with unapologetic truth. And if this video spoke to you in a way that words can't quite capture, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You never know who else might be searching for this message, who might be one whisper away from remembering their own light, just like you did today. Thank you for walking this sacred journey with me. Until next time, stay radiant, stay rooted, and keep letting your aura speak.